Hey friends, I want to talk about something today that changed the entire way I lead my team. And honestly, it changed our whole business. There was a time in my business when I could not understand my team, like at all. They would overanalyze everything. They would take way longer than they needed to. They would keep problems to themselves. They would keep tasks to themselves when they were clearly stuck, but they wouldn't ask for help. And I could not understand why. And I remember thinking, why are they doing this? Why didn't they tell me sooner? Why does it feel like everything has to come back to me to get finished? On the outside, it looked like they were moving slow or avoiding responsibility. But what I didn't realize was that each of them was responding based on their own behavior. And I didn't understand it at the time, and they weren't trying to frustrate me. They weren't trying to hide, and they weren't trying to make my life harder. They were operating from fear, confusion, and their natural instincts, just like we all do. And it's behaviors. And so I also started looking as I started been coaching for over 6 years now. I also noticed the same concept was happening in my clients' businesses and the clients that we coach. And once we actually went into Maxwell DISC, everything clicked. I suddenly saw the patterns. My C wired people were terrified of making a mistake. So they overanalyzed everything. They fear of being criticized. My S wired people didn't want to bother me or create conflict. So they just kept things to themselves. And that's why they kept hoarding all the tasks. They didn't want to ask for help because they had that fear of not doing enough. And then my I wired people didn't want to disappoint me, so they hid their struggles behind positivity. And my D wired people pushed through challenges alone because for asking for help, felt like weakness. And none of this was personal. This was based on their behaviors, and their behaviors was something that they had learned over the years. So none of this was intentional, and none of it was about being a bad leader or them being bad team members. It was simply about wiring and behaviors. And until I understood that I was trying to fix behavior I didn't understand, including my own. And now I can identify when I'm doing it. And I understand it now, and I understand why certain tools didn't work, why it just opened the world. So I kind of wanted to share this a little bit with you today because we were talking about it on one of our group coaching calls. And so in Maxwell DISC, we talk about your primary behavior styles. And D is dominance. It's fast paced, action driven, motivated by results. Avoid asking for help because it feels like you're slowing down. And I was thinking about this because I have two D's in my organization, but they respect each other. But they're very dominant and just tell me what I need to know and let me go do it. That's how they move. And then and one of those was my business partner, so it made it helped us communicate. And I'll talk about myself in a minute, but it helped us actually communicate better. It helped us move things along. And then I is influence. These are enthusiastic, people oriented, motivated by recognition, hide struggles to avoid disappointing others. And then you have S, which is steadiness, is consistent, patient, and supportive. They're motivated by harmony. They do not like conflict or burdening others. That's why they like will hoard all the tasks. And these are really good, they're good, great team players. And then the C, conscientious, that's me. And that's where I find most accountants live. Precise, analytical, detail focused, motivated by accuracy, overthinks and overanalyzes to avoid being wrong. I know I do that all the time. And I have some C's on my team, and I'm able to identify it in them when they're doing it, but then they're also able to now be self aware of it because we have taught them their behavior and what they naturally go to. And once we all understood this, we stopped assuming why they were avoiding work and started realizing that they were avoiding fear. And I've seen this over and over, not only in my own team, but also in other people's teams as well. And I stopped taking this so personally. So I mentioned that my business partner Lynn was a D and I'm a C, so I want to give her all the details. She doesn't care about all the details. She just wants to know, this is what I need to know, this is all I need to know, that we can go make a decision. She doesn't care about all my spreadsheets. I care about the spreadsheets. And I stopped thinking they should know better. And I started leading them based on who they were, not who I was. And I also understood this myself. So if this is something that you feel like that you're struggling with your own team, if you're wondering why your team acts the way they do and why certain patterns keep repeating, a Maxwell DISC assessment and debrief can actually change everything for you. Because I hear this from our clients a lot, how it's changed the way they communicate at work, the way they've communicated at home, the way they communicate with children. Because when you know your wiring and theirs, you communicate differently. This is the number one problem I see in firms is lack of communication and or communication that's not effective. You delegate differently, you lead differently, and the chaos and hesitation, bottlenecks and avoidable mistakes, they start to disappear. Because a lot of times, especially like with the C work, the C behavior, they're afraid of criticism. So when we give review notes, they actually take that as criticism when we don't mean it that way. But we have to understand that's how they're taking it so we can actually have that conversation a little bit different. And if you want to learn more about this, book a call and I'll drop the link below and we can see what it looks like, see if this is the right fit for you, see what's going on in your business to see if this will help you actually move your team to a different level, move your team where you want them to go, move yourself where you want to go, because a lot of accountants get stuck if they're in the C cycle of over analyzing everything, so they have trouble moving. And that's what we need to do this time of year is we need to move and we need to understand, not to mention this, understanding this also helps us communicate with our clients, because if we're C's and they're an I, they don't want to know all the details either. So understanding this about your clients, your team, yourself, your spouse, your child, whatever, can totally change how you look at things. And I know this because we live it. And we have done this with other firms, businesses as well, and it's changed how they communicate. So if you want more information, you can either click on the link below. I'm going to drop it in the drop it below. Book a call and let's talk and see if this is the right fit for you. If you want more information, just feel free to send me a DM or write info below, and I'll be glad to get you any information that you need. Have a great rest of your day and happy Monday.